I'm joined by Robin Gilthorpe, CEO of WaterSmart Software. Nice to speak with you.
Great to be here.
So you are a company that is helping others conserve water, which is key now in California.
Absolutely. What we do is we help utilities and end consumers to save water, save money, and avoid energy use.
How do you do that with your technology?
What we do is we combine the data that the utility already uses to issue your bill, and we combine that with our own data about your home, where it is, how many people are in it, and so on. And we do three things. We help the utilities understand who's using how much water, when, where, why, and how. We help them to forge a link to their consumers to talk to them precisely about what they're doing and help rank them in terms of how they do with a fair comparison against the community. And then we also help them to nudge those consumers into patterns of behavior that are better for the consumer, better for the utility, and better for the environment they live in.
So what's happened to your business in the short time that Governor Brown announced these mandatory water restrictions?
So it's definitely created a lot more interest, I would say. The business, though, frankly, was already on a pretty good tear. We tripled the business last year, we tripled the business the year before, and we're broadly on the same trajectory for this year.
Tell me a little bit about where you are in terms of financing, how much you'd like to raise and what you intend then to do with some of those proceeds.
Well, as you know, we actually funded earlier this year, picked up another $7 million in a B round, led by DFJ, Wesley, Physic, and a series of family offices who are motivated by our mission. We're using that at the moment to expand in the domestic market. Today we're coast to coast, serving millions of families in about 4 dozen communities. For next year, we'll probably take our first steps into other markets, to overseas markets, and probably once we've proven that point, then we'd go for another round of fundraising.
What is your growth trajectory? Have you mapped that out in terms of your potential for increased revenue and growing the market?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely subscribe to this theory of T2, D3, the kind of playbook for building cloud businesses. Triple twice, double 3 times. We're on that trajectory. And as we know from other people who've been down that road, Marketo, Salesforce, and so on, that's how you build a $100 million cloud business.
There was talk, we were at this conference with you in San Francisco today, that conservation is not enough. Water reuse is something that was a big theme. What do you think needs to happen in tandem with some of the conservation efforts like your own company is doing?
So this is definitely an all of the above type of crisis. Conservation is something that has the potential to be the first step you take. It should be the first resort, not the last. Doing things like desalination, recycling, and all those other clever physical science projects are essential, but they take 5 years, 10 years, or 30 years. We don't have time for that.
So how do you get around that?
So the way you get around it is that you use a platform like ours working in the digital world, not the physical world. You get those first savings, you bend the demand curve, and you pick up a lot of useful data that helps you prioritize and decide which of those physical science projects you're going to do.
So you are raising money. Do we need to see more public-private partnerships, do you think, in the water industry?
I think anything that allows us to attract more capital to this problem is highly valuable. The investment gap for water infrastructure in the US is about $1 trillion. Nobody's going to write that check. Remember all the fuss we had over $1 trillion of stimulus money. I don't see the potential for $1 trillion just for water overnight. And that's regrettable, but anything we can do, I think public-private partnerships, I think more venture activity, and I think more investments and catalyzing of those investments by governments at all levels will be helpful.
And finally, do you know your end game? Do you hope to remain a standalone company? Would you like to be acquired? Would you like to go public?
Our primary goal, frankly, is to grow a great business and provide great service. Any situation where you're tripling the business year on year tells you you're probably more or less on the right track. And as CEO, my job is to create great options. If we build the business well, create great value, then we have a great future, whether that's independent, whether it's acquired, or whether it's public.
Robin Gilthorpe, thanks so much for your time.
Great to be here.